Whoop. Let's see what we have here. What the F? What the Filipino? Franz Ferdinand. Flapjacks. Farcical. What the Flamingo. What the Fam Jam. What the That's not a real number. That's fake. That did not happen. Acting. That was acting. Believe it or not. So, to my surprise, that video where I told people to like the video actually worked. I actually thought there was a significant chance that I would get a significant amount of dislikes, which in itself would have been interesting. And I would have been talking about that, about the whole reverse psychology of it and how, look, I was right. You know, when you tell people to dislike something, they'll dislike it. But you guys liked it. You idiots. You're a slave to the man. You just do what I tell you. Think for yourself. No, I'm just kidding. That's fantastic. That's actually awesome. But it does prove my point. The other point, the main point being that for every time you reference it, for every time you say to somebody, like this video, it encourages people to like the video. I actually saw all of my videos get a like spike after making that video. People just need a gentle reminder. I do really appreciate it. It is really cool. I did get at least one guy who said, I do not want to like this because it's obvious what you're doing and you're just masking it as a social experiment. Now, I want to be really clear that is absolutely not true. I was legitimately going to be fascinated with the results, and which is why I had a whole different kind of skit planned with expecting way more dislikes. So we learned something here. But wait, you need to write it down for it to be science. That's the difference. That's the difference between science and just wasting time, is you write it down. Words. Science. So no, I wasn't masquerading. I wasn't parading a falsity. It was true. I was completely speaking the truth there. And again, these videos are not pre-planned, except for, little ideas in there, little jokes. Otherwise, it's just kind of off the top of my head. I'm just going. I just speak. That's why I'm happy with making these. That's why I'm really excited to get feedback, to get your comments, which I've been reading. It's been insane. I think in my entire 10, I don't know, I'm just gonna say 10 years, I guess. My entire 10 years of YouTube, I have never seen so much activity, so much response from people in my whole career as I have in my short time doing these new vlogs on this channel. That is insane to me. I know that means I have something here. I know that means that this is something I'm going to continue. This literally this exact format of just talking about things. Because I just, I've lived so many years on this planet. And I say that, I'm young. I'm not incredibly young. I'm young. And as you get older, it's funny because you realize this. People always say it, right? Like I remember used to think age 30 was so incredibly old. Everybody thinks that at some point, right? Now I'm like, no, that's not that far away for me now. Like that'll come up before I think. And then it'll be like, wow, I'm already hanging out with like 30-year-olds. Like I'm already, that my age group of people I chill with is expanded there. And like that's just crazy to me. Anyway, this is going on a tangent as happens. But no. I was being completely genuine with the social experiment thing. And fair enough, though. The fact that response happened, and it was, it was well thought out and well written, explaining why he thinks, I'm sure, hopefully you're watching this as well, sir, why you think that I was doing it for, the likes kind of thing. Which is fair. Obviously there's that aspect of it. It's like, oh, hell yeah, if I can get some extra likes on this, maybe this video will do a little better. And the video did actually really pretty well. But that was, it was more of a social commentary on the YouTube system itself, of the machine. We're all cogs in the machine. It was commentary on the cogs in the machine. And I actually do, people don't believe me in general when I say this, and there have been many experiences, many cases where I have done social experiments. There's almost like some negativity floating around that word to cover up doing something and potentially failing or something. But no, like I've literally, for instance, started YouTube channels and like done projects and stuff. Actually, in my university, I took new media was my course. And to graduate, you had to do a final project, and you could either do an internship at a, like a video game company or something like that, or, a animation studio or something, or you could do a special project, and you had to make like a big art piece, and people did all sorts of things. And for me, what I did was I made YouTube videos. I wanted to be able to better examine the metrics of search results and finding out, attention spans and how to get new people to join the channel, rather than the bigger you get on YouTube, the more it snowballs, the easier it is. That's why that's how it is with money, with fame, with success. It snowballs. It is so easy. And here's we're going to go on another tangent here. Here's something that I've always found interesting. When people give so much praise to celebrities and super wealthy people for donating to charity. Now, in my opinion, you have to. It is like a moral obligation. When you have that much wealth that you don't even like honestly, think about this. If you had $1 million a month, this is after you have everything in your savings, you have $1 million in interest coming in every month, every year. If you had $1 million a year, a normal person living even a slightly nice life, you wouldn't even blow through that. You wouldn't blow through that. You'd have to try, believe me. You'd have to really go on some crazy spending sprees. So when you're making this kind of money, you donate to charity. I've always wanted to make enough money that I could just donate $1 million to Toronto sick kids, to children's hospitals. That's a goal in my life. Just a huge lump sum of money. But when you have that kind of money, that's so easy to do, right? We shouldn't look at that number as being so big, and it is helpful. It is fantastic, right? And I hope people don't get the wrong message from this. But it's so much easier for those people to do that. You understand? You should. That's why when someone is super wealthy, I believe the people who made Walmart, the Waltons, I believe that family is always under fire for not donating a lot, as they should be. When you have that kind of money, you can't even try to use it. Help the world. But going back to snowballing, when you have, again, wealth, success, fame, things like that, power, it snowballs. That's why, if you get one small loan of $1 million, it's really hard to mess up, because you can just invest. There's so much you can do once you have that money, once you have that wealth, once you have that power, once you have those followers. It just rolls. If you come from nothing, if you come from the slums, you have nothing. It's way harder to get up there. There's these inherent privileges with those powers. Well, just tangents all over the place. But that's why I was using this channel as a literal social experiment, as a knowledge thing. And I encourage everybody to, no matter if someone's going to call you out and be like, you're just saying it's a social experiment, right? First of all, write it down. I did. I had Excel sheets. I had everything. I have learned so many lessons by messing around, by just doing stuff and seeing the results. Honestly. It's been very, very interesting. Even if it's as little as changing images, doing rebrandings. I love rebranding. It's probably not the best thing to rebrand things all the time, but I love it. I change. I change as a person. I grow every month of my life. Since living here in Toronto for a couple months now, I firmly feel like a very, very different person than I did in university. So I reflect that with something as simple as a profile picture change on Twitter. I love doing it, and it's fun. It's a good exercise to just, go into Photoshop, make something, make headers, make profile pictures. It's a fun. It's a fun. We have a fun. That's a fun. Moral of the story here is, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the likes. That's cool. You're blowing me away every time with your support. And again, I'm gonna emphasize it one more time. I've legitimately never seen this much feedback in my entire career. And I know, and I'd love for your thoughts below on if you agree that there's something I'm doing here that is special, that is different, because I'm talking to a freaking camera. What is this? Look, I'm talking to this. I'm not talking to anybody, but I am. Food for thought. Thank you so much for watching, my fine people. Remember, wrong hand. Remember love, not war. Illuminati. Albatross. That's a weird bird right there. It's like a What is that?